we're beginning with the deck that everybody is going doom and gloom about, and that is TENPAI. The main notes about this one are, have you read Misk, but it's a field spell? Also, have you synchro summoned in the battle phase ever before? Also, have you swung for 10 trillion billion gazillion damage? And also, important note, this one goes out to all the jokesters out there. Biden, he's on the way out, okay? These nuts jokes, they're there forever. Just remember that, okay? When you try to make jokes, just keep that in mind. There's gonna be a peak for the Biden jokes, but you know, you gotta move on. All right, anyways, we start out with Fadra. Normally you see it at 2, I think. You don't really want to, you know, draw into it, but you want to summon it from the deck. On summon, at the start of the or at the start of the damage step, if a monster battles, you can target a level 4 or lower fire dragon monster in your graveyard, special summon it. So it's a monster reborn. Fire dragon monsters can't be destroyed by battle, which kind of comes in handy because, you know, you have to swing to do shit oftentimes, and if they die, then it's harder to use them for synchro summoning. And once per turn during their battle phase, you can synchro summon using this card you control. So, wow, battle synchro. You are going to begin noticing a theme here, I guess. This is Genroku. This one's kind of weird. I thought it was more epic and then I saw it used less. But, yeah, this one, if added to the hand, except by drawing it. Okay, so a lot of these slides, side note, a lot of these slides were made when I was like half asleep. So, yeah, that's supposed to say except by drawing it. You can special summon it as a tuner, then you can increase its level by 1. Also, it has a quick effect where you can tribute the card, special summon a TENPAI dragon monster from your deck except itself. Also can't special for the rest of a turn except dragons, and both effects are hard once per turn. So this guy, kind of a popular dude, you know, but also like OSS on itself. So literally just popular. We have Pydra. This one's a 3 of usually. On summon, you can take a Sangen spell trap from the deck. That's the TENPAI spell traps. And you can either set it or add it to hand. So kind of crazy that you can set. Again, plays around, technically, I guess, in some cases, draw. Also works for, like, I don't know, follow-up, later setup, etc. You also take no battle damage from battles involving your fire dragons. So again, another one of those battle kind of related things where you can swing into shit so that you don't die. Also, once per turn during the battle phase, you can synchro summon. Wow, never seen that one before. This is a big one. I think it's the one that got limited to 1 in the OCG like a couple days ago or a week ago or whatever. Chandra. This one's a 3 of, you know, unless it gets limited. This guy, once per turn during the battle phase, can synchro with this card you control. Wow, never seen that effect before. If you control a fire dragon, you can special this from your hand. Hard once per turn. So free extender. And at the start of the damage step, if a monster battles, you can special summon a level 4 or lower fire dragon monster from your deck. So this guy can be a 1-card combo. He's kind of crazy. He's also an extender. Literally everything you could ask from a card. Insane. Very orange. Let's move on. This is a first spell card. Sangen Summoning. As you can see, my note is also that this is a 3 of, if not limited. It's limited to 2 now. So you're probably going to be playing 2 of this if you're playing the deck. And it basically reads Misk, but for main phase 1 for your fire dragon. So fire dragon monsters you control are unaffected by your opponent's activated effects during your main phase 1 only. And during your main phase, you can also add a TENPAI dragon monster from your deck to your hand and then discard a card. So it's also a searcher on top of being freaking Misk. And then, if that wasn't enough, if it's destroyed during the battle phase, you can target a dragon synchro monster you control and its attack becomes doubled. Which, you know, you might have heard that this deck has like a lot of attacking going on. Well, imagine getting attacked by like a freaking huge Chungus. We also have Sangen Kaiman, which is also normally a 3 of, I believe. And you can apply, well, actually, definitely a 3 of. And you can apply one of these effects, or if you activate the card in the battle phase, which you often do, but assuming that you don't, well, anyways, we'll get to that. Which you often do, and then you can apply both of them in sequence. So you can add a level 4 or lower fire dragon from your deck to your hand, It's just a freaking Rhoda. And you can special summon a fire dragon from your hand. So in the battle phase, you just add a card and you summon it for free. Kind of insane. And you can only activate it, you know, once per turn, which makes sense. That being said, it's an activate, not use once per turn. I don't know why they made that decision, but yeah. In the main phase, let's say if you activate this, you could add Chandra from before and it can summon itself out. So, you know, it's still pretty nutty. We have the trap card, which doesn't really see a lot of play, I guess, but you can play it. During the main phase, if all monsters you control are fire dragons, at least one, and your opponent controls more monsters than you, you can end the main phase, so you force them into, I don't know, I guess, battle. If 3 or more monsters were... If 3 or more attacks were declared this turn, you can banish the card from a graveyard and draw a card, not drag. Then you can special any number of TENPAI monsters from your hand, and both effects are hard once per turn. So, I mean, it's not like the craziest card ever, but it's not like the worst card ever either. But you're probably never going to see it activated because most people are cowards and they don't try out things that other people aren't running. Here is the card why Biden was relevant. We have Sangenpai Biden to Dragion these nuts. Usually played at 2. Requires a dragon tuner and non-tuner dragons, so not generic. In case you were looking to play this one in your non-dragon deck, I suppose. If it's synchro summoned, you can target a fire dragon in your graveyard, special summon it, so that's very poggers. And you can't summon for the rest of its turn except dragons, hard once per turn effect. And if 3 or more attacks have been declared this turn, you can special summon this card from graveyard, then you can destroy one spell trap on the field once per duel effect. So the revive effect is only once per duel. The idea is probably that you just win the game if you use this at that point. You might also notice that this can destroy a spell trap on the field. Seeing how you have to have attacked 3 times, it's probably not trying to destroy your opponent's back row, as you might imagine. Probably there to enable you to pop your own field spell, which can double the attack of a monster. Let's say you pop the field spell and this guy becomes 52, and then he can attack for 52, but it's not even the best target. Moving on to the big deity synchro, Sangenpai Transcendent Dragi on these nuts. This one is also not generic and requires dragons. If synchroed, can change all monsters on the field to attack position. Very poggers. All of your opponent's monsters must attack if able. Also, your opponent can't activate cards or effects during the battle phase, so it just turns off stuff in the battle phase. And if 3 or more attacks have been declared this turn, you can special summon this card from the graveyard, then you can destroy 1 card on the field once per duel effect. So basically same deal as the other guy, except he has more attack and he can pop any card. And he also locks your opponent out of stuff in the battle phase. One of the reasons why I guess the deck can be really annoying to deal with, because during the main phase you can't really interact with them if they have the field spell, and then during the battle phase if they get to this guy you also can't interact with them. So definitely an annoying card. And then on top of that, we're probably, I mean, I think it's like pretty much confirmed at this point, but we're probably getting Dora, which, you know, if normal, you can add a level 4 or lower fire dragon monster from your deck to your hand. You could probably imagine a couple fire dragon monsters that you might want to add from your deck to your hand with this card. And then it also has like the second effect where during your main you can excavate top card of your deck, and then if it's a fire dragon monster, send it to the graveyard. If you do, this card gains 1000 attack for each Dora you currently control, otherwise place the excavated card on the bottom of the deck. Which, I mean, I guess you can get like an attack boost, you know, Pokey Draco, but he also like freaking visited grandma, I guess. The game plan, as mentioned in the intro before, is you have the Misk field spell with search, and then you can also BRD, which is also a fire dragon, by the way, or like anything else. They can't really do much about it, ideally, right? That's the plan anyways. And then you battle phase synchro, and then you attack for, you know, bazillion damage, and usually you're just going second. Here will be a combo example. At first, you can see I was a little bit a little bit optimistic by saying examples. I was considering maybe showing a couple. Animating in Google Sheets is a nightmare. There might be some visual artifacts, so bear with me. Let's move on to the one card combo here. We start off with the Chandra, and then we enter battle. We're in the battle phase. We swing with Chandra. We activate the effect. We get the Pydra from the deck. Pydra adds the Kaiman to our hand. We swing with Pydra. Then we activate the Kaiman. We add the Fadra. We also summon the Fadra. Then we can synchro into Bident, Dragion. Then we can revive the Chandra. Then we can swing again because, you know, we haven't dealt lethal damage. And we can bring back the Pydra and we can swing with that because of Fadra's effect. So we have another body. Now we can synchro summon again into the level big guy. And then we can swing with this guy. And then we can activate the effect of Biden in the graveyard to bring him back. And then we can swing with him again because he's summoned back. And then we can synchro again into Dragion. And then we can pop 2 cards, making this guy able to attack 3 times. And then we can attack 3 times. And then we can bring back this guy again. And then you can swing with this guy. And that's like literally 1 million damage or something. And this is off of 1 card. Obviously, it's nowhere near ideal, but I think it displays kind of the idea of what the game plan is pretty well, which is enter battle phase, and then you swing and you summon, and you swing and you summon, and then you synchro, and then you swing, and then you synchro, and then you swing, and then you revive, and then you synchro, and then you synchro, and you swing like 50 times, right? Here are some deck examples. Wow, very cool. So, you know, Shifter is commonly included because this deck can put up an OTK line through Shifter. It isn't necessarily like, you know, preferable to be under Shifter, but it can operate under Shifter, and it's like one of those cases where like it's probably gonna hurt my opponent more than it hurts me kind of reasoning. But yeah, here's another list. This one has like a little bit more board breaky approach, but I don't know. I mean, they're kind of similar. And just for good measure, here's like a recent TCG topping list with a bunch of trap cards for going first, in case you wanted to play this deck as a going first deck for whatever reason. All right. Moving on, we have Ritual Beasts. This one is kind of awkward because a lot of the cards that you use in this deck are older, and a lot of people probably have never really played Ritual Beasts, so you might not be entirely familiar with them. But basically, they have a bunch of main deck monsters. All of them can only be special summoned once per turn. They have the Beast Tamers and the Beasts. And then some cards that are both spiritual beast tamers, so they're like both spiritual beasts and beast tamers. Usually for the fusions, you need a tamer and a beast. They contact fuse, which means they can, you know, even be face down on the field. I don't know if that really is going to matter. And also for the terminology, we're gonna have, you know, RB shorthand for Ritual Beast. It is what it is. Here comes the first of the couple new cards, Spiritual Beast Tamer Lara. She's a 3-of because she's insane. She can only be specialed once per turn, as every single Ritual Beast card from the main deck pretty much. You can discard her immediately on resolution, normal 1 RB from your hand. If a Ritual Beast card or cards would be you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can banish her from the field or graveyard instead, so she's also protection. If she's banished, you can also special a Ritual Beast monster from the deck except herself, and each effect is hard once per turn. So if you know anything about Ritual Beast, this card is insane, and it is very good for your 1-card combo setup. Yeah, Ritual Beast Inheritance. This one has the really wonky art of Wen. Feel free to use the Wen emote in the chat if you want to take a closer look at her face in this one. Laura. I mean, you can pronounce it. Wait. I mean, she's Laura, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. You have to ask her how she prefers being called. Alright, this one reduces the opponent's monster's attack by 200 for each different ritual beast you control. You can also reveal a ritual beast monster in the hand, add a ritual beast monster with a different type from your deck to your hand, then discard a card. And if 2 or more monsters are special summoned to your field at the same time except during damage step, you can target one monster in the field, change its battle position. So hee hee haha, another one of those battle position interaction things, which I actually kind of like. I guess we'll look at lists, a couple lists afterwards, but yeah, I mean, this one's not like super popular, but you can play it, of course. Then we have new fusion. This requires a ritual beast tamer and a spiritual beast, but it is a little bit different in the sense that it must be special from the extra by banishing the cards from the field and or graveyard, so you can use the graveyard, which again is freaking nuts for this deck because you do pile up resources in the graveyard eventually as well. Can only be specialed once per turn. Opponent can't target ritual beasts you control with card effects, and it also has a quick effect. You can return it to the extra deck, target one of your banished RB monsters, and special summon it, but it can't attack directly. I'm gonna be real. So far, at like a glance, this is more of a card that allows you to get set up and also gets extra bodies, but I mean, it's not horrible. By any means. It is a very good card, and it's very integral to being able to set up your, you know, even like 1-card combos and whatnot. And then we have the Link 4, the new big boss guy. 3+ effect monsters. I guess like technically it's generic. I don't know if you pull this and you can tech it into like some weird deck for its floodgate effect, but yeah. Speaking of floodgate effect, neither player can tribute cards to activate a card or a card effect, card or effect. Which, I mean, there's like a couple cards that you could think of that are relevant that might want to tribute. Yes, but okay, here we go. Target one of your banished ritual beast cards and return it to the hand or extra deck. Then you can normal summon one ritual beast monster from your hand. This is an extension effect, but it can also recycle your spell traps, which can come up in some certain situations. Let's say you get drolled, you might be able to add their trap card, which is a non-targeting prop, back to the hand, which is also something worth keeping in mind. And during the opponent's turn, you can target a ritual beast card you control and one card your opponent controls and banish them, which, you know, just on top of being a tribute floodgate and an extension / recursion card, it's also a banish one during your opponent's turn, which is nice. Both effects are hard once per turn, so you're not going to be stacking multiple copies of this guy. The game plan is you're going to be summoning Ulticanahawk, which is an older fusion quite a lot of times. And that fusion, as all fusions can tag out, well, all the old fusions can tag out into 2 ritual beast monsters. But it can also activate its second effect, which is target 2 ritual beast cards, send them to the graveyard, and if you do, add a ritual beast card from your deck to your hand. It only needs to send 1 card, so, you know, if you have 3 ritual beast cards in your banish pile, you target 2, one of them gets tagged out into alongside another card, and you still get the search. So basically you just keep looping a dead card, probably a card that you can't special summon back because it already has been special summoned or some other reason. Let's say it is a fusion that was not properly summoned, or, well, I mean, just fusion in general. And just keep getting a bunch of cards. So you summon Ulticanahawk a bunch of times and search a bunch of stuff, and then you set up non-targeting pop with the trap card. You get to banish an opponent's turn into Link 4, no tributing activating to activate effects from the Link's Floodgate. Sometimes you also get IP Masquerena. And then if you want to be cringe, you can, you know, play like Colossus Engine and or Protoss Those are also options that you can do. Here is, oh, there's the video example, but yeah, so this one was a nightmare. There's some artifacting, as you can see. I can't stress enough, do not try to make animations like this in Google Sheets. It's not very efficient. Anyways, we're going to be starting off with a singular Kanahawk. The one in the banish pile right now is not there. You can just, you know, imagine that he's not there. That's from the last game. Someone forgot their copy on the table, and we're not going to steal it or anything. We're going to just leave it there. It's fine. We activate the effect, and we banish the new Lara from the deck, which allows us to special summon the old Lara. Now we can banish off the two from the field to go into Kanahawk. Kanahawk is going to activate its effect to send both Laras, and then activate its second effect to tag out into the new Lara and the Kanahawk, sending the Lara to the graveyard and adding one to the hand. We can now activate the Kanahawk effect, which allows us to banish the Rampengu, which you can't see, but it's a very cute green penguin guy. Now we banish off, or rather, no, we send this to a graveyard to link off into the link 2. Activate its effect by banishing, I guess, Lara, but I mean, probably Hawk actually was supposed to. That's most likely where the artifact went from. But yeah, not in a hurry just yet, I suppose. Go for the Wen. For the extra normal summon by banishing from the graveyard. Her effect allows her to bring back from the banish pile. She will bring back the green Rampengu, which we banished before. Rampengu's effect allows us to banish a fusion and then send a monster, ritual beast monster from the deck to the graveyard with the appropriate typing, which allows us to send Winda to the graveyard. And we also have like a big fusion guy in the banish pile underneath that Kanahawk that shouldn't be there, but it's not ours, so we're not gonna touch it. We can't get rid of that card. It's still there. Now we can banish the Winda and I guess a Hawk or anything, you know, to summon the new fusion, which allows us to get the Winda in the graveyard, which will matter because we're going into Ulti Kanahawk again. Woohoo! We love Ulti Kanahawk. So we can activate the Ulti Kanahawk effect again. And we're going to be tagging out into Wen, which was normal summoned. And also the Winda that we just banished before. So she hasn't been special summoned. Allowing us to add Ritual Beast Tamer Elder. Now we can link off the Link 2 and the two girls from the field to summon the new Link 4. The Kanahawk is not supposed to appear there, by the way. That's an accident. Don't worry about it. All right, we activate its effect, which allows us to add back Kanahawk to the hand. Now we have Elder and Kanahawk in the hand, and we normal summon the Elder from the effect of recurring a card from the banish pile, which allows us to extra normal summon the Kanahawk that appeared a little bit early, and then we activate its effect, because again, it's not once per turn, to banish Apelio, the little lion guy. We banish these cards to summon everybody's favorite. Kanahawk is back again, and then Kanahawk freaking dips out once more, and we can bring back Elder, which was normal summoned, and Apelio, and also add Ritual Beast Steeds, which is a card that allows us to pop opponent's cards up to a number of Ritual Beasts that we control. We can also banish a card from the graveyard with Apelio, and then we probably link off into IP Masquerena, preferably in a legal zone, so one where link arrows exist. But I was literally running out the door at this point when I made this in the morning, so I might have made an illegal placement here, but don't worry about it. And that's it. You have the banish, you have the pop, you have the freaking floodgate, and you can link off into shit as well. Very epic, very cool. We love it. Why is Lion so small? Because he hasn't eaten enough. You didn't feed him. All right, here's some decklist examples. We got, I think this is a TCG list because there's no max C. So as you can see, there's like Protoss and Colossus set up. To be honest, like this deck so far isn't really that expensive because, wait, they don't run Ulti. Oh no, they do run one copy. Okay. So, Ulti Apelio is currently the only UR in this deck. You only really need one of him. And you know, the new Link guy is also gonna, or girl, I guess, is also gonna be a UR. I wouldn't be surprised if Lara is a UR, so it's probably gonna be like 6 URs or something. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. And here is a OCG list, which this one topped, I think it was top 16 or top 8 in Japanese nationals or something, a 1,300 people event, with no main decked floodgates outside of D-Shitter. So, you know, there's some cope that this might be playable. Wahoo! We love it. Moving on to the next archetype, we have Goblin Bikers, Big Gabonga. Here's a note that when I made this a couple nights ago, I'm not sure about the ratios because, I mean, this hasn't really been played in the OCG since they didn't really have it for a while. Being a TCG exclusive originally and all that. So ratios might be kind of questionable that are listed here, but also out of the TCG lists that have quote unquote had like relevant success or whatever, they also had some varying choices. So keep that in mind versus something like TENPAI where, you know, the ratios are a little bit more trustable. We have the Boom Mac. Once per chain, if this card is in your hand or graveyard, quick effect, you can detach or exceed material from a monster on either field, and if you do, special summon this card. Also can special summon Boom Mac until the end of the next turn. This is going to be a recurring effect for a lot of these guys. And I mean, a lot of them have the effect to detach a card or a material from an Xyz monster on either side, which means, by the way, if you're playing against Pirelli, you can just detach a small cat, and then their cat is no longer a quick effect, which, funnily enough, makes it, like, I guess, potentially a pretty good matchup. But yeah, just know that there's going to be a lot of detached material and special summon this card type of effect. We have the Sploder, pretty good card. On summon, you can target a goblin monster in your graveyard except Sploder and special summon it. You know, love to see it. And during your opponent's main phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can detach from Xyz material from a monster in either field, and if you do, special summon this card with banisher when it leaves the field. Each effect hard once per turn. So, you know, gets an extra body, also gets that summon effect. Very cool. We have the Dog Charger. This guy is insane. Actually goated card, especially, you know, right now when we don't have badass Goblin Bikers, probably the best card in the deck, I guess. If in hand, you can attach a material from an Xyz on either side of the field, and if you do, special summon this card. And on summon, you can add a Goblin Biker spell trap from your deck to your hand. So, you know, just get a Searcher. Very cool. We also have the Mean Merciless, which is on summon can special a goblin from hand, except Mean Merciless. During main phase, if in the graveyard you can attach a material, special it, but banish it when it leaves the field. Each effect hard once per turn. And also it's a Goblin Babe. Very cool. We love that for her. Also, she is a Fiend, and she's level 3, which means she is a target for Tour Guide of the Underworld. They are girlfriends in this deck anyways. Doug Zeef? Yeah, it's Doug Zeef. We have the Goblin Biker Grand Entrance. Again, as you can see, when you read this card's effect, it's going to be a little bit questionable, but I mean, there were people who topped events with like 1 copy of this, so, you know, that's why I'm saying the ratios seem a little bit questionable, but you can add a goblin monster from your deck to your hand, then apply the following effect. Detach an Xyz material from a monster on either field, and if you do, special summon 1 level 4 or lower goblin monster from your hand. So this can search for goblins that aren't a part of the Goblin Biker archetype, as you can see a little bit lower. Also, you can banish this card from graveyard, detach an Xyz material from a monster in either field, and then you can add a goblin monster from your graveyard to your hand. Both effects are hard once per turn. Memento card! Yes! Memento support is here! Bat chest. A bit of an artifact of the old layout. My apologies. We have the Biker Grand Bash. Goblin monsters gain 300 attack for each goblin monster you control. So technically off of this, you can gain quite a lot of attack. If you want to go for a big Gabonga beatdown, it is very possible. I mean, to be fair, oftentimes attack boosts feel like they're not relevant at face value, but you know, being able to put up lethal easier or being hard to run over a card is quite valuable. So I wouldn't completely dismiss that effect. During your main phase, you can also normal a goblin in addition to your normal summon set. You can only gain this effect once per turn, or once a turn. And you can target 2 goblin monsters you control, then activate one of the 2 effects. You can either make one become the other's level, or you can combine their levels and both of them become the new combined level. So let's say you have a 3 and a 6, they both become 9s. Surely that's not going to be relevant when we get badass goblin bikers, right? You also have the pile up. Target an Xyz you control, special 1 goblin Xyz from your extra by using that target as material. And if you do, attach this card as material as well. And it's treated as an Xyz summon. You can also banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 goblin Xyz you control, 1 card in either graveyard, attach the targeted card from the graveyard to the monster on the field as material. So it's a graveyard yoink, which is a time thief Xyz interaction. But I mean, I guess we can't really come up with too many new things for Xyz monsters. But that being said, it's not a horrible interaction, right? Being able to yoink stuff from the opponent's graveyard in response to stuff or preemptively can still be somewhat valuable. It is a trap card though, so, you know, keep that in mind, I guess. We also have yet another trap card. This one's a continuous one. The Goblin Biker Grand Stampede. During the main phase, immediately Xyz summon 1 Xyz monster using goblins you control. And if you control a Goblin Xyz, you can target 1 effect monster in the field, attach 1 Xyz material from a monster on either field. And if you do negate that targeted monster's effect, there does seem to be a goblin dog outside. Pay no attention to that one. But yeah, this is an option to have negation on the field, I suppose. And of course, you can only use 1 effect per turn, only once that turn. Just run Armored Xyz instead? Well, I mean, you'll see, I guess. We have the titular Goblin Biker Big Gabonga. Everybody loves this guy. And you will too once you read his effect. He requires 2 level 3 monsters, so he is generic. All of your favorite rank 3 engines work for this guy. If he's Xyzed, you can add a goblin monster from your deck to your hand. If material is attached from a monster on the field, you can target a face-up monster except this card and attach it as material. So he also has the Suckmaster effect. Big Gabonga on this guy. Also, during the end phase, you can attach a goblin monster from your deck to his card as material. And all effects are hard once per turn. So, I mean, you're not gonna, unfortunately, gonna be wanting to stack Gabongas on the board to, like, suck up 3 cards. It would be epic, but unfortunately, they deemed it to be a little bit too powerful. We also have a Troika guy. I don't know. This one, I think, is newer, but also doesn't really seem to be getting a lot of love. It's also generic, 2+ level 3 monsters. While 3 or more Xyz materials are attached to monsters on the field, goblin monsters you control can attack directly. So I guess some cheese potential, especially with the attack boost, I suppose. Once per turn, if a monsters are normal summoned or specialed, while this card is in the monster zone, except during the damage step, you can target 1 of those monsters, attach a material from a monster on either field, and if you do, change the target's battle position. So again, a battle position switch effect, which I mean is cool, but I don't think it's really gonna be all that relevant. But you know, maybe you figure different, right? Once per turn, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can attach a material from a monster on the field, and if you do, negate the attack. So it also has Scrap Iron Scarecrow ability, I suppose. Cool. We have Goblin's Crazy Beast, the rank 6, requiring 2+ level 6s with a quick effect. You can target a spell trap on the field, detach 2 materials from monsters on the field, and if you do, attach that target to this card as material, so non-destruction backer removal by just sucking it up, which is kind of nice. If a monster you control would be destroyed by battle or I guess it's only by card effect. I think it. Let's see. Yeah, it's only by card effect. You can attach a material from this card instead, so it has a little bit of protection. If it's in the graveyard, you can special it. Then you can attach a goblin monster from your graveyard to it as material. And the last effect is once per duel. Wow, a third card with once per duel effect. Surely that's going to be the last one in this box, right guys? Okay, and here we're gonna go for a combo example. This one hopefully is gonna look a little bit less messy, and it's also going to be a 1-card combo by using one of the best starters for the Goblin Biker deck, and it is of course Speedroid Turret Top. So we're gonna special summon Speedroid Turret Top, and then it's going to magically turn into Big Gabonga. Of course, we added another level 3, which we specialed, and then we put it underneath. Summoning Big Gabonga, we can add the Chugger, or Doug Zeef, detach material, special summon Doug, search for Grand Entrance. Now we can rank up into Armor Fortress, search for the full armor trap card. Grand Entrance can detach the Tekatomborg, and we can add and special summon the Mirrored for whatever reason Splat guy, who can, of course, on summon, revive the Xyz in the graveyard, Big Gabonga, which also is mirrored now. I mean, I guess that, like, I don't know, pay no attention. I don't know how that happened. But anyways, just use a mirror to read this. Now we can overlay those two guys to go into... This is not the only option, but we can just go into the Ghost Trick engine to go for Mischief to, you know, get the search and then detach and revive and summon second Mischief, and then go for Draco Future. And then in the end phase, we can add the Boom Mech underneath his material, and then during the opponent's turn, we can activate the effect of the Splotter, whatever, Splotter, and then we can bring it back, and then we can bring back Chug from the graveyard, or Boom, whatever you prefer. You can, you know, use the Boom effect as well. Here comes the Boom, and then you can activate full armored Xyz, and then you can overlay these guys into, I don't know, Cicada King, and then you have another suck, because, you know, you had one suck, but technically you can use Boom as well to detach and suck with the Gabonga. You also have the trap in the graveyard to set up the suck with the Suckmaster. You also have the F-Zero for Monster Negate, and you also have Cicada King for Monster Negate on the, you know, opponent's field. Which, to be fair, it might not seem that crazy until you know, remember 60 seconds ago, this was just one turret top. So, hypothetically, kind of poggers. Now, is this going to be an amazing deck? Probably not, but, you know, it's like not that bad. You have other plays. That being said, there are, you know, I'm pretty sure we're not getting Badass Goblin Bikers, which is the level 6 new card, which is pretty cool, not only for setup, but also for another line of interaction. You could have gone, instead of the F-Zero, you could have gone for IP or for anything else that allows you to put the cards in the graveyard, so that's also something you can keep in mind. So here's some deck examples. We have, yeah, all of these are TCG lists, because in the OCG this deck hasn't really existed properly. So obviously they're gonna not only be missing cards that, you know, we're probably gonna be playing like Maxi, but also they're gonna have weird ban list situations like Turret Top at 2, but also E-Telly at 3. So, you know, again, keep that in mind potentially when looking at these. Oh, wait, there was only one list. Okay, never mind. Keep that in mind looking at that one specific list that I put in. I thought I put in multiple, but I guess I only put in one. And then we have Infernoid, which this part of the presentation was made about 40 minutes before the stream. So after I got back home. So we have a bunch of guys that can be summoned without starting a chain, or as people on the street know it, inherent special summons. If you've played against this deck, you've probably seen it as a go second cheese deck, which it still can be a go second cheese deck, while it can also be Snake Eye pile because it has a bunch of fire cards, but I mean that's probably not as good due to all the limits. And it can, you know, also just in general set up a bunch of cards. They play a bunch of millers, and the first guy, who is an OCG named Infernoid Satan, for whatever reason has a Latvian name, and he's just named first. Yeah, that's about it pretty much. I mean, I wasn't super knowledgeable about this deck before. I know they had a lot of effects that allowed you to banish. Like, most of them were DD Crow and legs when on the field. They do tribute for their effect activations, which is a little bit awkward with, you know, the fact that they're a graveyard deck with multiple decks that don't mind Shifter being released, and they are a deck that tribute to activate effects, with a deck that has a floodgate that prevents you from tributing. But anyways, maybe you really care about these cards. We have the Void Reignition, which, I don't know, there was like some weird stuff where I think in the TCG they played like 0 in some lists or whatever, because their lists are weird, but usually this is a 3 of. You can reveal an Infernoid monster or Void Spell Trap in your hand, which are the Infernoid Spell Traps, and then you can discard your entire hand and then draw the same number of cards that you discarded. Wow, card destruction just for me! You shouldn't have, but it also allows you to set up your graveyard, which this deck really, you know, wants to do that. If you control no monsters, or you only control fiends, except to turn this card with Scent of Graveyard, you can banish it, and then you can target up to 11 banished Infernoid monsters with different names, return them to the graveyard, which is insane for refueling, or, dare I say, reigniting your deck's ability to participate in the game. And the second effect is once per duel. Remember when I said that there's like some sort of a once per duel theme going on with this box? Like, I don't know, that's like four cards at least with that line. That's weird. Lair of Darkness, I mean, you could, but I don't think it's like super common in those OCG lists. But I mean, nothing can stop you. Don't let your dreams be dreams. We also have Void Breach, which seems to be played at 1. Infernoid monsters gain 100 attack for each of your banished Infernoid monster. So, you know, this can stack up. So it can be a nice attack boost, potentially. If you control no monsters or only fiends, you can activate one of these effects, hard once per turn. You can either add a banished Infernoid monster to your hand, or you can special summon one Infernoid monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions, which could also be kind of nice, I suppose. We have New Fusion Guy, which is played at 1 to 2 copies, requires 2 Infernoid monsters, and if fusion, you can banish an Infernoid monster from your graveyard, and then you can, what the frick, you can send one Infernoid monster or Infernoid monsters with different names from each other from your deck to the graveyard equal to the banished monsters level, which means if you banish a level 7, you can send 7 different monsters. If you banish a level 10, you can send 10 different monsters. If this card is sent to the graveyard or banished, you can add 1 Void Spell Trap from your deck to your hand, and each effect is hard once per turn. We also have a new Link 4. Insane. Yet another Link 4. This one, however, is not entirely generic, unlike the Ritual Beast one. So you're probably not going to be taking in, not that you would want to do that in any other deck. It requires 2+ monsters, including an Infernoid, and when an opponent would special summon a monster or monster's quick effect, you can tribute 1 monster, negate the summon, and if you do, banish the monsters. So ironically, not like a real floodgate effect, but, you know, prevents flooding the board. If a card is banished from your graveyard except during damage step, you can banish 1 card on the field. And if this link summoned card in its owner's control is destroyed by an opponent's card, you can special summon an Infernoid monster from your deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, which again potentially allows you to summon one of the big boys for extra interaction. Here is a combo example, but an addendum. Assuming that you even have a graveyard, which is in reference to the fact that there might be more D-shifters and stuff like that. No guarantee, but that is a possibility. You're gonna try to mill a bunch of cards, and then depending on what you get or don't get, you're gonna, you know, go from there if you're playing a go second type of build. So I don't think there's a lot of point in trying to display anything like that. We're looking at some mid, like, turn 1 setup. I'm gonna be real. I don't think this necessarily looks like super reliable because it starts off with an unsearchable card that's not a part of the archetype. But that being said, here goes nothing. Also, because I made this like literally last minute, it is, how do I say, turbo scuffed. So some of the animations will be implied. I'm not going to like visually show milling 10 cards because that would like literally just take a couple minutes to make happen. If you want, like, you can, I don't know, I think that was like Decade's link actually, so that you can, you know how to find it. There's also another artifact situation going on here with like the level 10 guy. Don't pay attention to him. He's just chilling, okay? Someone left him there, and we start the duel with Dark Fusion activated. Dark Fusion, we sent 2 guys to the graveyard. One of them is probably a high level, I don't know, level 10, level 9, level 8, whatever you want, whatever you got. Infernoid Evil hits the field, we banish from the graveyard. In this case, we banish level 10 because frick it, baby, he's already there. And then we send a bunch of guys from the deck to the graveyard with different names. Imagine that we sent the appropriate number. Now we summon 2 guys for free because it's epic. We link them all off and we summon, oh my god, I love her, Promethean Princess. Now we can proc the effect of evil, which allows us to search for the vanishment. Very cool. We can use her effect and then like link her off into a link 4 because we revive the card. But if we didn't revive a card, we could probably summon an Infernoid monster by just banishing another Infernoid monster and then linking off into this. Now's the time. We also summon the level 10 guy because he's epic and he's like a negate or something, if I remember correctly. Then we go Void Vanishment, we pitch a card, and we add the Void Feast, and that's it. That's our board. We have Promethean Princess, we have the Flood negate inherent summons, we have like the whatever, like negate guy, but then we also have Feast, which allows us to summon 2 Decatrons and, I don't know, like the level 8 guy. And then Decatrons can copy the effects of like other dudes in the deck and either become DD Crows on legs or the negate guy for like spell traps or something. I don't know, you know, potentially insane value, lots of interaction off of this like kind of questionable 3-card combo with an unsearchable. I think you're probably going to be playing this as a go second deck or like some other build. I don't know, this seems a little bit questionable. It's a little bit ham-fisted, but you know, like if you believe hard enough, anything is possible. Here are some decklist examples. This one is OCG, I think. Yeah, I mean, they have 2 grass, they have instant fusion, which would be pretty nice for this deck. Unfortunately, we don't have that card. It's very common, as I talked during the stream yesterday, for them to play the trap duplication rollback so that they can use the feast again from the graveyard, get a bunch of interaction. You know, usually lists are big, you want to get as much shit in the graveyard as possible. And yeah, that's about it. We also got some Gold Pride cards. I still feel kind of, I don't know, not quite indifferent, but I'm not super hyped for them personally. It's really weird to like try to fit in more cards that aren't innately able to immediately do stuff for you, like a level 5 that requires you to have lower life points, and then it also requires you to have another card to set up a token to be able to synchro summon. And the synchro guy is like, okay, I can pop 1 or 2 extra deck cards. Like, okay, by extra cards I mean extra deck monsters, which means they have to be on the field. If your life points are lower, you can target 2 fusion, link, synchro, exceeds guys. I think he includes all of them, but maybe he doesn't. I'm pretty sure he does. But yeah, I mean, those cards are okay. I'm not really going to go in depth on them. This is like the old upcoming stuff list from before that we looked at the end of the previous presentation. So we did have Ritual Beast at the top as expected deck, and that did happen. Inferno did happen. I did all caps, like saying, Ibis coming, it's gonna be funny. because like they're unhitting like a lot of Dragon Link stuff, and then she like I guess isn't coming because they didn't announce her being unlimited today. So maybe she comes next box because they have been unhitting a lot of stuff. Maybe she'll never come, who knows. Melodious, I feel like this was, you know, like either TENPAI or Melodious, because I don't think they want to overstack any box. We got TENPAI instead. Shining Sark didn't come this box, so it's probably gonna be next box. Goblin Bikers, we got the big Gabonga, and Ashen did not come, but we got Goblin Bikers again. Like, would be kind of weird, I feel like, to do 2 world premieres at the same time, but you know. Here is the stuff that may or may not be coming. We have the Melodious, Shining Sark, Flame Swordsman, maybe Ashen. I feel like that's like not super likely, but like it could happen. Because again, Flame Swordsman I think is a little bit more probable, and I think it's also a TCG premiere if I remember correctly. Ken and Gen, I mean, I don't know, maybe, I feel like they probably would have been highlighted, so I don't think they're in this box. Vargas again, I also imagine that it would have been highlighted. It would be really weird not to highlight it as a free agent card, and I also really hope that it's not in the box, but if it's in the box, well, Yubel got a buff just now. Lad stuff might come, White Forest, probably by December, Fiendsmith, I don't know, maybe even by January. You also have like Gimmick Puppet stuff and Mimighouls at some point, but I don't think it's gonna happen too soon. Thank you so much for tolerating the scuffed presentation. You can leave your opinions on the animations and whether it helped at all or not, and your input in the stream chat, and that is all from me this time around. Oh yeah, Tachyon, I guess Tachyon is also kind of on the way. You're not wrong. That could also come. Bam. Whew. That was a lot of yapping. That was a sheesh ton of yapping. Oh, I need to change my title as well. Not dailies anymore. Hello everyone! Welcome to my presentation for the upcoming box for Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Mrs. Johnson told us to make a presentation about something that upsets us, so I made a presentation about Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel new upcoming selection box, Outlaws from Inferno. Let's begin. I think also... Okay, this is a random added note, and you can't really see it because I forgot to edit this one after changing the background image. But I feel like they also had like kind of extra theme, and you will see what I mean eventually, maybe to an extent. I am kind of grasping at straws here, but it does feel like there's, you know, more than you would expect cards that actually read once per duel. And I'm not just talking about like, oh, it's only in TENPAI. Like, no, there's like actually several cards that have that line. So keep an eye out for that one. That's going to be on the test. Which cards have once per duel effects? Make sure that you have your notes ready, and let's dive straight into it.